Hey folks, Michael Mann with Michael Mann Security Services. Here at Physical Security 101, we're going to talk about contract security services. Hey, if you want to get a hold of us, get us at contact@michaelmannsecurityservice.com, or you can get me at mmann@fbctn.org, or you can always call me at 615-956-3912. Let's get to it. So, what is a contract security service? It's an external provider that organizations and individuals, like companies, churches, etc., or an individual, hires to manage all aspects of staffing security personnel, establishing and implementing procedures, and maintaining a safe and secure environment for that facility. Now, there are some advantages to contract security services. This is where you hire somebody from the outside. Number one, anytime you hire a contract security service for your Christian school or private school or church, number one, you're going to transfer the risk to that security provider. So they have insurance, they are covered, very specifically liability, and they should also have workman's comp. And so if something happens, you're transferring the risk of whatever the likelihood of that event, the vulnerability, and the consequence to that vendor. This is all managed by the vendor. So the personnel that are hired to do the contract security work, that entire function to include the management of those personnel are managed by that vendor themselves. You guys don't have to worry about it. There is also a reduced workload for the church or school, which means that because you guys don't have to manage it and somebody else is doing the job, you don't have to have volunteers or staff to do whatever it is that the contractors are doing. And then they should be developing their own policy and procedure. So if they're developing that, you guys don't have to worry about it. So those are all advantages of having contract security personnel. Now, there are some disadvantages. Number one, and this is mostly for the churches, schools, you have to have, most of you guys have to have contract security providers unless you're a PSO when you hire in-house. But for the churches, I would tell you, especially for the security teams, a commitment and mindset is going to be lacking for a security contractor that's doing your security ministry work. So if they're there on Sunday to secure the church, unless they've got a very specific function or scope, it's always better to use volunteers, people that serve the church, people that love the church, they're believers, and they want to be there. Okay. Not that the contract security person does not want to because they're being paid, but they don't have really any ownership in the church. So a lot of times this is a big disadvantage if you're using contract security personnel for churches. Now, again, some contract security services are absolutely necessary for some churches because they just can't get volunteers or they just don't have anybody to manage it. So it may be necessary, but just understand that's one of the disadvantages. Hiring oversight. This is up to the vendor because they don't work for you, they work for the vendor. So the vendor has all the oversight on hiring, licensing, background investigations, the qualifications for the person. That is all done by the vendor, and you may or may not have any oversight in that whatsoever. Cost, just understand a cost comes with this. There's always pay rate, so what they're paying the guards, and then there's always a markup, obviously, to what they're going to bill you because they're here to make a profit. Obviously, I own a contract security company and there's profit involved. It's a great thing, but just understand this is one of the disadvantages for you, the customer. And then turnover. There's, especially in the Nashville area, a lot of turnover because there's just a lot of work. But understand anywhere there could be turnover based on what they're being paid, based on the scope, just based on what the industry looks like in the location where you are. Okay. Some considerations. Make sure that this provider is licensed and get them to show a copy of that as you talk to them. Get a copy of their COI, certificate of insurance, and make sure that they are covered at the level that you guys are comfortable with when it comes to liability and aggregate. Procedure development, make sure that they have procedures for these personnel. There should be some sort of procedure in place to tell your guards or to tell the guards that you guys are paying for or security personnel what they do, how they do it, when they do it. And then, of course, the scope and training itself gets into what level of training do you want the guards to have? What does that mean? And what does that mean for the scope of the company? Can they put that in the contract? Now, just understand from a legal standpoint, no one can make even armed guards respond to do anything. So trust me, you can't force a contract security company to put response into the contract. They won't do it. I wouldn't do it because we don't know how that person's going to perform under stress, especially if they've not done that for us. So just understand there's expectations from the customer, and then there's things actually that the vendor can do. So just understand what the scope and training for those personnel are. All right, folks. Again, if you want to get a hold of us, you can get me at contact at michaelmannsecurityservice.com, or you can get me at mman@fbctn.org. You can always call me at 615-956-3912. And remember, it is about prevention, not response.